Welcome to Cheated Hearts, the channel where we uncover the raw, unfiltered stories of betrayal and heartbreak. Today's story is one of pain, trust shattered, and the difficult choices we face when love is betrayed. Let's dive into this emotional journey. It began with something so small, so seemingly insignificant, that I didn't even recognize it as the start of my heartbreak. I was in a long-distance relationship with someone I loved deeply. Let's call her Sarah. I trusted her with my whole heart, believing that what we had could weather any storm, even the distance. But things started to change. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first. Sarah became distant, not just physically but emotionally. Our conversations, once filled with laughter and connection, turned shallow. She'd seem distracted, giving short, vague answers. Whenever I asked her about her day, she'd either dodge the question or give me a reply that felt rehearsed, almost mechanical. I didn't want to overthink it. After all, relationships have their ups and downs, right? Maybe she was just stressed, or maybe I was reading too much into things. But then it happened, a slip of the tongue that changed everything. One evening during one of our calls, she mentioned a name I hadn't heard in months, her ex. Let's call him Mark. It was a casual mention, like she didn't even realize she'd said it. But it hit me like a punch to the gut. Why would she be talking about him now? I didn't confront her right away. Instead, I stayed up that night, my mind spinning with questions. Was there more to this than she was letting on? The more I thought about it, the more the pieces began to fit together. Little things I'd ignored before started to make sense. She'd been vague about her plans lately, brushing off my questions with excuses like, oh, just hanging out with some friends, or I've been busy. And then there were the social media posts, a photo at a cafe, a tagged location at a park, places I knew her ex frequented. I couldn't ignore the feeling anymore. Something wasn't right. So, the next time we talked, I decided to confront her. I started gently, asking her how things were going, and if there was anything on her mind. She seemed defensive, almost irritated by my questions. When I mentioned her ex, her reaction told me everything I needed to know. Her face went pale and she immediately tried to change the subject, but I didn't let her. Why did you mention him the other day? I asked. What's going on, Sarah? She stammered, giving me excuses that didn't add up. The more I pushed, the more she squirmed until finally she broke down. I need to tell you something, she said, her voice trembling. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely hear her next words. For the next few minutes, she confessed everything. She'd been meeting Mark behind my back for the past 2 months. At first, it was just innocent conversations, she claimed, but it didn't stay that way. It escalated. She admitted to sleeping with him. 12 to 15 times, she said. Her words felt like knives slicing through me. I didn't mean for it to happen, she said, tears streaming down her face. I was just so lonely. You're so far away, and he was there. But I swear it didn't mean anything. I love you, not him. Her words echoed in my mind. She loves me? How can someone who loves you do something so cruel? My mind raced as I tried to process what she was saying. She claimed it was a mistake, that she didn't even enjoy being with him. But how could it be a mistake if it happened so many times? She blamed the distance, saying it made her feel isolated and vulnerable. But wasn't the distance something we had both agreed to face together? I had trusted her completely, believing that our love was strong enough to survive. But now that trust was shattered. As she sat there crying, begging for my forgiveness, I felt a mix of emotions: anger, heartbreak, betrayal, and confusion. Part of me wanted to scream at her, to tell her how much she'd hurt me. Another part of me just wanted to hang up and never speak to her again. But I couldn't let go of the image of Mark. Was he laughing at me? Did he know how much he'd destroyed? I pictured them together. In all those moments, she'd lied to me, and it made me sick. I hated him for stepping into my place, for giving her the attention I couldn't. But most of all, I hated her for letting him. She kept saying she loved me, that it was all a mistake. But love isn't supposed to feel like this. Love isn't supposed to leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. That night I sat alone staring at my phone, trying to decide what to do. Do I forgive her and try to rebuild what we had? Or do I walk away and focus on myself? The thought of losing her was unbearable, but so was the thought of staying with someone who had betrayed me so deeply. In the end, I knew I deserved better. I deserved someone who wouldn't break my trust, someone who wouldn't let distance or loneliness become an excuse for infidelity. The road ahead would be hard, but I knew it was the right one. To all my listeners here on Cheated Hearts, I want you to take something away from my story. Love is beautiful, but it should never come at the cost of your self-respect. If someone truly loves you, they will fight for you, not betray you. And if they do, remember, you're stronger than you think. This is my story. What would you have done in my place? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, stay strong and remember, you're not alone.